Hi there, everyone. Today's story is called Grandfather Tang's Story. It's a story told with tanagrams, and it's by Tompert, and it's been illustrated by Robert Andrew Parker. Just a little background. This story is going to use ancient Chinese puzzle pieces, which are called tanagrams. These shapes right here. There are 7 shapes in total. Each piece is called a tan. And when you create pictures or with tanagrams, you can only make them touch each other, but they cannot overlap. So you can create your own tanagrams with a piece of paper and a pair of scissors. Make sure you talk to your parents. The second way you can is online. You can look for the word tanagram, and there's lots of templates online that you can do this. So tanagrams are used to help tell a story, and we're going to see what happens in this story, and how tanagrams are used to tell the story. Grandfather Tang and little Sue were sitting under a peach tree in their backyard. They were amusing each other by making different shapes with their tanagram pieces. "Let's do a story about the fox fairies," little Sue. So Grandfather Tang arranged the seven tanagram pieces into the shape of a fox. Then Grandfather Tang made another fox with little Sue's 7 tanagram pieces. So little Sue clapped her hands as her grandfather began. Although Chu and Wu Ling were best friends, they were always trying to outdo each other. One day, this rivalry almost brought their friendship to a tragic end. They were sitting under their favorite willow tree beside the river, talking about their magic powers. "I can change myself into a rabbit as quick as a wink," boasted Wu Ling. "I bet you can't do that." "I can too," said Chu. "Cannot," said Wu Ling. Anyway, actions speak louder than words, and he changed himself into a rabbit. "Not bad," said Chu, smoothing his whiskers. "But watch me do better than that." And before Wu Ling could blink, Chu changed from a fox into a dog. Now, when Chu changed himself into a dog, he not only looked like a dog, but he felt like a dog and he acted like a dog. He barked, bared his teeth, and he lashed his tail. Wu Ling shivered and twitched his nose. "I love rabbits," Chu growled, "and I'm going to get you and gobble you up." The dog edged closer and closer. Wu Ling's eyes grew bigger and bigger. He was too frightened to move at first, but then he thought, "I'd be safe if I can climb up the willow tree." His puffy tail grew long and bushy, and his tall ears shrunk as Wu Ling transformed himself into a squirrel. Wu Ling sprang into the willow tree and scrambled to the top. "Chu will probably turn himself into a cat so he can climb up the tree after me," Wu Ling said to himself. "But he will never catch me. I will jump from tree to tree, and he won't be able to follow me." Of course, Chu thought about changing himself into a cat. "But that's just what Wu Ling expects me to do," he had said to himself. "What can I do to surprise him?" He thought and thought. "I know. I will swoop down from above." And he turned himself into a hawk. Chu circled around and around in the sky above the willow tree, searching for Wu Ling. Wu Ling peered through the leaves of the tree, looking for Chu on the ground. Around and around Chu circled the willow tree until he spied Wu Ling. Caw, 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 he shrieked as he zoomed down upon the squirrel. Wu Ling trembled. Chu's beak looked sharp enough to pierce right through him. If only I could live in a shell house, he thought. Then Chu couldn't hurt me. Chu stuck out his fierce claws and seized Wu Ling, but Wu Ling dove towards the river below the willow tree, and as he dove, he tucked his head and tail and legs and turned green and changed into a turtle. Wu Ling climbed up on a mossy rock in the middle of the river. He thought he was safe because he looked as if he were a part of the rock. Chu circled around and around, searching and searching, until his sharp eyes spotted the turtle. He swooped down, down, down towards him. But just as Chu reached him, Wu Ling plunged into the water. "Follow me, and you will drown," he cried. "Don't worry," cried Chu, plunging right behind Wu Ling. His body grew long, covered with scales, and whipped the water with his long, wicked tail. And he snapped his spiky-toothed jaws as he turned into a crocodile. Wu Ling circled around and plunged down, down to the bottom of the river. Chu lashed his wicked tail as he plunged right after Wu Ling. Just as they reached the bottom, Chu chomped Wu Ling in his spiky-toothed mouth. "Now I've got you," he bellowed through his clenched teeth. "Oh no, you haven't," cried Wu Ling, who grew smaller and smaller and changed himself from green to orange as he transformed himself into a goldfish. He swam out of Chu's mouth between his spiked teeth. Then he hid in a patch of cattails. Chu turned the waters with his lashing tail and as if he charged into the patch after Wu Ling. His head swinging back and forth, his eyes darted here and there, searching for Wu Ling. Wu Ling knew that Chu would not give up until he found him. "I must fly from here," he thought, as he started to honk and transformed himself into a goose. Chu charged after him, but Wu Ling spread his wings and took to the air. Chu watched him fly to a small island where a flock of geese were feeding. By now he was not only very angry, he was also very hungry. He decided that if he could not catch Wu Ling, any goose would make him a good dinner. He splashed through the water towards the island until he reached it. "Honk, honk, honk," cried Wu Ling as he took to the air. A chorus of honks swelled the air, and the flock of geese spread their wings to follow him. While Chu watched, honking grew fainter, and the flock grew smaller, and he felt his anger slowly drain away. "Why, oh why did we play this stupid game?" he moaned. "I'll never see Wu Ling again." He closed his eyes and sank towards the river's bottom. Just as he touched it, however, he had an idea, and popped his head up again. A goose himself. Moments later, Chu was flying after Wu Ling and the other geese. He could hardly see or hear them at first, but he did not let this discourage him. Calling upon every last bit of strength, he forged forward. Each flap of his wings brought him closer. The wedge of geese slowly grew bigger. The honking grew louder. At last he found himself flying beside Wu Ling. "I'm tired of our silly little game," he cried. "Come with me to our favorite willow tree." Before Wu Ling could answer, something stunned Chu's right wing. He sank towards the ground. A hunter had shot him. Wu Ling flew down beside Chu, placing his left wing under Chu's smashed right wing. And together they fluttered down to the edge of the forest. The hunter ran towards them. "Fly away," Chu urged Wu Ling. "Save yourself, fly, fly." "I won't desert you," cried Wu Ling. And with a mighty roar, he changed himself into a lion. The hunter raised his bow. Wu Ling sprang forward toward him and knocking his bow from his hand. The hunter fled, leaving his bow behind. Wu Ling and Chu returned to their fox shapes, and Wu Ling helped Chu to his den, where he took care of him until he was mended. "Did they ever play that game again?" said little Sue. "Many times," said Grandfather, "but they were very, very careful." "That was a good story," said little Sue. "Let's do another." Grandfather arranged the 7 tanagram pieces. "Is this a story about a man?" asked little Sue. "Yes," said her grandfather. "He's old and tired and wants to sit under the tree and rest a while." "Is he a grandfather like you?" asked little Sue. "Yes," said her grandfather, "just like me." So little Sue arranged the 7 pieces of her tanagrams beside her grandfather. "Is that a girl?" he asked. "Yes," said little Sue, "just like me. She'll sit and rest beside the man." "That will make him very happy," said Grandfather Tang. "And now, little Sue, what will we do?" "We will sit and rest until Mother calls us for supper," said little Sue. "That will make me very happy," said Grandfather. So that's the story of Grandfather Tang's story told with tanagrams. So once again, if you like tanagrams and want to create your own pieces or shapes or animals, this is what they look like. You just need to make sure you have a square piece of paper. Now remember, a square has the same length on all 4 sides. So that's the important piece. They have to be the same. The square, the big square that you create, has to be the same length on all 4 sides before you create these pieces. I hope you enjoyed the story, and hopefully you can have some fun with tanagrams. We will catch you next time we have a story.